biggest misconception around ICF construction is that it's difficult to install trades like electrical, plumbing, and HVAC. Today, I'm going to walk you guys through this house and show you how we incorporated all three systems into it, as well as showing you why it's much simpler than people think. Walking into the house, the trades typically start with plumbing, then it goes HVAC, then electrical. Electrical's finishing up right now, but I'm going to show you guys the first trade, which is plumbing, and how we incorporated that into the ICF. Now, starting off with plumbing, typically we don't put plumbing in exterior walls, whether it's ICF or SIPs or traditional framing. However, really commonly you'll see sinks by the exterior wall in kitchens. So in this case, we had that. The kitchen sink's going to be here. We have a drain going into the wall and then over, and then we feed it into this pantry wall here, and then it shoots right up and vents out the roof. All we got to do is trim out a 3-inch passageway. Once we get that installed, we put these metal straps over the studs to primarily protect screws from going into this. The other integration we have with plumbing are the hose bibs on the exterior. We have one in the back and one in the front, and I'll show you the piping for this first. We do a big service loop here. So if we ever need a service on the outside, we can pull that out, and this just goes straight down and right out, and we can service that, and then we can push it right back in. No need to tear up this wall ever. We can keep the drywall on. No need to open that wall to access and service that water hydrant. In regards to installing HVAC in an ICF house, there's really not much different. As you can see, there are multiple systems like the mini splits that we have, radiant floors, our HRV. All of these systems don't even touch the ICF foam. They're all installed in the trusses, or in a different case, we'd put it in the floor joists or the rafters or whatever. The big difference is the fact that ICF by default is a lot tighter of a home. So when we build a tighter home, we have to now incorporate a different type of system to comfortably heat and cool the space. With this space, we have radiant floors, and the radiant floors radiate heat from the slab. The biggest problem with radiant floors is that there's no air moving like a forced air system would. What we brought in is an HRV system. It cycles out the static air, the static stale air, and it brings in fresh, clean air. So now we have a system that heats the space really nicely, and another system that will cycle that bad air. On top of that, because this is just a heated floor, not a cooled floor, we brought in these 2 cassette mini split systems. We have one system here in the living room and one system in the bedroom. This will primarily be used just to cool the space. And because there are a lot of little nooks and crannies, like the bathrooms primarily, we brought in this system. And this system's really cool. What it will do is, because this is the biggest space and it's gonna be kind of the main space, it's going to be pulling the temperature controlled air into this box, and it'll be pushing it into those other spaces, the bathroom here, the powder bath, and we'll be pushing it into the primary bath. So if you're cooling this space, because there are no registers in the bathrooms, it'll be pulling the cooling from this room up into this box and over into those bathrooms. That way, this entire space is going to be hopefully kept at the exact same temperature if that's what's desired. Now, obviously, if we keep this door open, this will naturally cool that space, and also with the bedroom, if we keep the bathroom door open, the bedroom cassette mini split will also cool that space. It's a small space, but trying to be thoughtful about the systems we're incorporating into this house and how we can comfortably heat and cool all of the spaces however we want is very important. On top of the HVAC, with those systems, we also added a lot more heating options into this bathroom because the client wants this room to be very, very warm. So on top of our radiant floors that we already have, and this is a specific zone for this space exclusively, we added a Dietrich heat system. So all of this will be a resistive heated floor into the shower as well. And then underneath the bottom shelf of this vanity, we're adding a toe kick heater. So all of these systems combined will hopefully yield the most luxury feel for a house like this. The last and final system is the most invasive in terms of installing in ICF, because you will have tons of outlets and light switches on these ICF walls. The easiest way to go about it, and I've seen this done by multiple electricians, is the usage of this tool. It's like a little mini chainsaw. But basically what you do, it's so very simple. It takes a little bit more time than obviously just pushing a wire down through a 2x4 wall, but you'll just turn this on. So it's relatively fast. And the cool part about this is it's the perfect width to shove one wire into, and it'll be wedged so nicely. Running down through just the foam is one thing. A lot of people will say using like a heat gun is one of the better options. You create less waste for sure, but it takes so long to go through the foam. And then if you need to cut horizontally and cut through these webs, it takes quite a bit of time. So I'll show you that. So as you saw, cutting through the web takes a lot more time. Now, this is probably just because this is really dull because they've used this on the job. It's getting a lot more dull. However, cutting through the webs takes a lot more time. So if you're using a heating tool, a heating element to cut that foam out, you're gonna spend a lot of time cutting this hard plastic out if you run horizontally. So to save a lot of that time, what my electricians primarily did is they just ran from the top plate down to the outlet or the light switch. And now when it comes to mounting the boxes, I've had electricians do it two ways. They have those old work boxes that have the tab on the left or right hand side, whatever it is, and you can nail or screw that into a stud. We've used that before and put it on the studs, but it sits on the foam kind of crooked and it never really looks good. We kind of migrated towards this section. These are all metal boxes. We drill some holes into the concrete. We put some screws in the back. That way these are fastened to the concrete. They're not ever gonna go anywhere. And it's also nice because they're perfectly flat. And so there's no like crooked boxes. So it looks very nice. All the boxes they do are the double gang boxes, and we'll just do a mud box for a single gang. So that's how we mount boxes in ICF. So yes, it does add some time, but a simple tool that is unique for a lot of things, but really helpful for ICF will make the job go really quickly. And then obviously with all your other interior walls, everything remains the same. But with this build specifically, we ran all of the wires up from the garage, the two panels, and then through the trusses, and then down into the locations they needed to be. So if you're trying to convince an electrician to install an ICF and they haven't done it before, maybe show them this video or just let them know this is a simple way to get the job done effectively, and it's not as complicated as they might think it is. The biggest question I've seemed to get over the years of building is, how do I properly plan for all of the penetrations for electrical and water and gas? And you just don't plan for that. Don't put conduit through your ICF. Don't do any of that garbage. The reason why I say that is because if you don't plan properly, you're gonna have to drill a hole anyways. So why not just build your house, don't worry about it, and then come back and drill a hole later. So I got these two bits. Now it makes maybe a more financial sense for me because I'm gonna use them far more often than somebody else maybe would if they build it one time. However, I bought a 3-inch bit and a 2-inch bit. I can punch a hole through anywhere in this ICF wall I want without a problem. I would say the only exception is if you need to run something bigger like an HVAC duct or something like that, then in that case maybe yes, plan for a cutout or something for that. But if you're trying to plan 2 to 3-inch holes through your ICF house, you're gonna be scratching your head a lot in the planning process. There's just a huge margin for error in case you mess up. Hopefully this video demonstrates just how easy and simple ICF construction is. If you have any questions about construction or ICF, drop them in the comments. I'll see you guys in the next video.